reason you're on here is because you're probably interested in FCRA for one. So we're going to talk about a couple different things that actually affect your FCRA violations in your client reports tonight. One way we're going to talk about them is and with no judgment, I'm not highly judgmental. I'm not going to be throwing shade at any methods or anything like that. But we are going to talk about sweeps. Everyone knows sweeps are not, illegal sweeps are not okay. There is no such thing as a legal sweep. So we are going to discuss sweeps. We're going to discuss FCRA violations. We're going to discuss outsourcing and outsourcers that are running FCRA violations and not actually paying you your money from those violations and how you can get paid the money on the violation. So we're going to hit a couple of really taboo subjects tonight, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I want to have a good discussion. I want to have a good discussion with everyone. So if you guys have things you want to say about it, I absolutely want you to jump in and share tonight. It's going to be a little different kind of class tonight.
All right. And then was there any damage to the property when they took the vehicle?
Do you know?
I think somebody needs to get. Okay. Well, I'm talking, wondering why you guys aren't talking back to me. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, so tonight we're gonna talk about sweeps. So we're gonna actually talk about sweeps because we might as well put it out in the open, you guys, because the truth is sweeps are just mainstream now. A lot of people are doing sweeps. A lot of sweeps are happening in the industry, like it or not, they're happening. So I just want to tell you what happens if you are doing sweeps, how it affects your FCRA cases, okay? Because it does. And there's a big portion of the community, that everybody wants to do FCRA violations. And there's a big portion of the communities that everybody's wanting to do the credit sweeps, and they do not go together. They don't mesh well together. And so I'm going to just go through why, okay? The actual reasons why credit sweeps are hurting your FCRA violations, and you're not going to get paid if you're doing it, okay? And I just got to figure out how to get this thing to advance. Okay, here we go. So number one, this class is not a how-to guide on doing sweeps. Number one, I'm not teaching anybody how to do a sweep here. There's a better way to do it, and I'm going to show you. This class is really about achieving long-term outcomes for your clients. How legal survivability, and what that really means is that your case will hold up, okay, when it gets to the attorney, and it's not going to get kicked out. And it's protecting your client's rights, because a lot of things happen when you do sweeps, okay? So sweeps are super popular. And there's a reason for the fact why sweeps are popular. Okay, they're super fast. It's really easy to sell a sweep to a client. It looks super advanced. It feels like you're in control of everything. Okay, all of this is true, right? All of this happens like boom, everything's gone. So the problem is what occurs after the sweep. Okay. Deletions don't necessarily mean success in credit repair. This is where you have to just really truly change your mindset about what credit repair actually is. Because a deletion is not a win if it comes back on the credit report. That's called reinsertion. Okay, reinsertion, you guys, is actually an FCRA violation. Okay, but not when you do a sweep. Okay, so if you have done a sweep and you have a reinsertion, that is now not actionable by any attorney. Okay, but a reinsertion on by itself, if you have an actual reason of good dispute why something got deleted, I've had this happen to me many times, and cases that arise from it. So we get something deleted. It's a, maybe they paid something. It was deleted like they were promised to do. And then a month or two, it came back on the credit report. I've personally had this happen to clients. That is an FCRA violation. That is a real, true reinsertion. Okay. But when you do a sweep, you're not going to get a case from that. Okay. You can have this file now is flagged for like fraud, right? You don't want that to be, you don't want any of your clients' files flagged as fraud unless it really is fraud. Okay, and to get your client blacklisted from future lending, so there's a lot happening right now in the back end with lending. They're going to be able to tell if you're doing sweeps. Okay, they have TransUnion just came out with their thing called credit washing. They're going to be able to tell if you do sweeps. And the credit bureaus, just so you guys know, the credit bureaus can tell if you're doing sweeps. They're going to come back and reinsert it because they're going to go look at it. They're going to do a little evaluation. We literally just talked to Smart Credit and they were at TransUnion for many, many years, 20 plus years. And they explained how that works. And they go back and they do investigations on all of these. And so eventually these things are going to come back. So when we say true success is survivability, that means actually repairing your the client's credit report. That is your goal, right? And you can repair it in different ways. Okay. You can have things where you fix on there. You can have things that they have to do. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a deletion. Okay. So reinsertions, what we just talked about. So creditors, they do go in and verify the debt and put it back on the report. That's what I was talking about. They actually look at these things at the credit bureaus. They will figure it out eventually. It will come back on the report. A broken chain of evidence. That means when you remove everything off a credit report and you were trying to do an FCRA violation with that, now it's gone, right? But then you have that FTC fraud affidavit that went out before. And so now when you put your case in, but it's not really, and then it comes back as a reinsertion, but it's not really a reinsertion, your case is dead. Okay. Your client's going to lose the ability to sue for violations, period, because you've altered these things in this way. These disputes, according to people from TransUnion, when we talked to like Steve Rieger and them, they track every dispute you've ever sent to the bureau. Okay, they have them on hand. They can see every dispute you ever did. They can see if you did, so you say you're doing a sweep file, right? And you sweep everything off, and they can go back and look. They can go see that 4 years ago, you disputed a late payment on that same account. Okay, you're not fooling anybody by doing it. That's the problem. I don't think a lot of CROs realize that there are many ways for the bureaus to tell if that's true or it isn't true. And when the attorneys get a file, say you do a file, FTC fraud affidavit, they go in, they go to litigate the case. Well, now the bureaus are going to have all this evidence to the contrary. Okay. And then the attorneys are not going to be happy because now they're out money. They paid you because they pay up front thinking it was a real case, but then at the end of the day, it got kicked out and they don't end up getting a settlement or get paid on their side. So that can be a big problem. Okay. If a deleted account reappears, it means the creditor didn't just ignore the dispute, they verified it. Okay. And it strengthens their case against the client. What reinsertions do to a file? It restores a previously deleted account. It resets the dispute cycle and it negatively impacts credit scores. That's the big one that we care about, right? Because you get this stuff taken off. Now it's going to come back on and boom, their score is going to go right back down. They're going to take those hits again. Okay. So attorneys need to have a very clear, verifiable timeline proving the violation occurred. Okay, so when you are documenting clean FCRA cases and you want them to go through, I can tell you personally, almost 100% of my cases get accepted because I document them clearly and effectively, right? I have a credit report I pulled, I have a dispute that I did, I have a new credit report that I pulled, I have evidence that I uploaded, I have bureau responses, I send it to the attorney, and there's nothing weird in there. There's no, 50 items that I disputed with an FTC fraud affidavit. I don't have any of these odd things in my cases. So they all go. Okay, so you just have to be careful. Sweeps corrupt the entire evidence trail. Okay, when you do it. So if you have a good violation, even if you don't sweep that, like they're gonna go back and look and go, oh my gosh, look what all that they did here, and it's still going to affect your case. Okay, so let's talk about who actually benefits monetarily from a sweep. And just spoiler alert, it's not you. Okay. The guru, right? Your mentor, the one that's selling the method and makes all the money up front. The CRO sells the sweep. You get the clients, but then you probably suffer high churn if you start getting reinsertions. The client's going to get a temporary result, but they're going to face some long-term damage, right? Sweeps are for speed, not survivability, period. So who's actually benefiting, right? So the client is going to lose their case because they can make money from that case too, right? They're going to get $1,000 or more usually for that case. So they're going to lose their case if they have an FCRA violation, and it's going to be a problem. The CRO is going to actually face refunds, chargebacks, damaged reputation, a lot of things by doing the sweeps. All the reinsertions that come on, mad customers. Some, maybe never come back and are good and fine, but you're going to have a much higher percentage of pissed off people. The attorney is going to be pissed off because they're going to waste time on a file that can't be litigated, right? And they're not going to be happy with you. So that's going to create a problem for you. But guess who's actually got paid? Just throw it in the chat. Who's getting paid here? Because I can tell you right now, you know what your mentor is doing? Your mentor is not doing credit repair, right? Your mentor is selling sweeps and getting you to pay for that information. They're getting paid because they're getting paid up front and there's nothing. So they're making all the money. Okay. Sustainable results in credit repair. These are the people that I want, right? These are the people that I want in my software, in my CRM, people that want to do good credit repair, that want to get FCRA violations. We don't just want deletions. We want deletions that are going to move the needle, right? We want deletions. We want to learn how to actually do credit repair in a way that's beneficial to consumers. Okay, we want permanent deletions. We do not want things reinserted 30 days later. I thought I had taken that Metro 2 thing out, so we'll ignore it. Chain of custody is going to remain intact, so that means the file is ready for litigation, okay? So that you can actually make money off those violations. Okay, credit repair should protect the file, right? So our goal is to prepare the file for any outcome, including court, which means this is how we do disputes. Accuracy. Factual disputes are the winner, right? All day long. Factual disputes based on real errors is what any attorney wants to see when they're doing FCRA cases on everything. Anything that is not really factual, you shouldn't, there's no reason to even be disputing it, right? You want to document everything, have a verifiable paper trail, get evidence, all of that. If you want to live in the FCRA world, if you want to be in the consumer law arena, these are the ways that you have to do it. Because unfortunately, when you try to mix the two, they don't mix. Okay. And a lot of people that I've been working with have tried to mix both of these. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, like I see the sweeps, and again, I'm not here to judge anybody. If you want to do sweeps, go do sweeps. I'm not here to judge you on that. But if you're gonna do sweeps, you can't do consumer law. You can't do FCRA violations. They just don't mesh. Okay. And I have lots of people, I didn't even realize this was going to be a thing when we started. And this is really what brought about this entire class tonight. Because what I'm seeing is that, people want to do sweeps. People want to collect FCRA money. Not going to work. It's not going to happen because they forget and then they sweep their violation and then they swept everything and now it can't go to the attorney because now you had 30 deletions. And what are you going to say to the attorney? If you send that report over to the attorney and you got 30 negatives and then the next month the violation, even if you didn't touch the one violation and left it, and so you send it to the attorney and you have 30 deletions from last month, they're not like that. I'll tell you that right now. They're not touching that file. I wouldn't. So you just want to preserve evidence for legal review. Okay. My classes, just being straight with you guys, my classes are for professional credit repair operators that care about their consumers. They want to get lasting results, not quick fixes, and do not do the churn and burn model. Okay. That is not what we teach. It's not what our software is designed to do. And I just believe you attract your tribe, right? So this is where we draw the line. This is why for my FCRA certification violation workshop that I ask all the questions if you're doing sweeps. Like you can't even be in that if you're doing sweeps. And the reason why, not even because I care if you're doing sweeps, because I really don't. If you want to do sweeps, go do them. But what I care about, what I truly care about is if I'm charging you for something, if I'm charging you money to come and learn something in a workshop, then it would be wrong of me to charge you money when I know you won't get value. Does that make sense? And anybody can answer that. But I know this is a little deeper than my normal classes go, but I just wanted to get this off my chest because I just feel like everybody needs to know you just can't do it all. Okay. So if it can't survive legal scrutiny, it shouldn't belong in a client file. All right. Secondly, I want to touch on, I've had a lot of people come to me lately with their outsourcers, and I'm not naming names for any outsourcers, but I've had a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, that, have subscriptions to Credit Butterfly, and they never really realized they had FCRA violations. Or they knew they were having FCRA violations, but didn't know they got paid money for the FCRA violations. They understood that their clients did get paid money for that. And they weren't getting anything because the outsourcers are just putting those in under their name and collecting those checks. Now, again, to me, it's just be transparent. If you're an outsourcer and you're doing FCRA violations for your outsourcing clients, to me, number one, I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are. To me, it's stealing. Okay. That client belongs to the CRO. That money belongs to the CRO. Okay. This is one of the reasons we created our software. We want you to profit from the FCRA violation. Why wouldn't you? That's your client that you worked hard to get. You paid all those marketing dollars to get and sell that client. Outsourcers are paid to do your documentation, right? To doc prep, to do the disputes. Well, part of doing disputes is FCRA violations, right? If they say, I do FCRA, then they should do the dispute. And you should get the check. And I just want to make that clear. For anybody that doesn't realize that, you're losing out on $400 to $500 for every violation if your outsourcer is not giving you that money, if they're putting it in their own. I don't think that's cool if they're not telling you. Now, on the other hand, if your outsourcer says to you, hey, we do FCRA violations, we get paid $500. So because we're going to go locate or spot them for you, then I'll take 250, you take 250, or I'll take, 100, you take 400, whatever it might be. If that's agreed upon in the beginning, cool. It's all good. I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever at all. But if you're not being transparent and you're not telling your CROs, if you're an outsourcer, that you're getting that money, that's stealing in my book. Okay, that's my personal opinion, and I will die on that hill. Okay, so that's a wrap for me. I realized, okay, that was a little not my normal kind of class, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about sweeps. Let's talk about FCRA violations. Let's just talk. Let's chat. We got a half an hour. Who's got something to say? You can just unmute and talk.
I just want to say I really appreciate you bringing this to CRO's attentions. I think you're doing the right thing, especially with your platform of having your own software.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. I know I hate being like a negative Nelly or anything.
I don't think you're a negative Nelly at all, but I am very grateful that I found your platform before doing any outsourcing because I was knowledgeable enough to ask about it up front. The company that I worked with, they actually said because they do it at such a grand scale, they get paid $100 per violation. And then I had the option if I wanted to collect maybe 20% from my client after they got paid. But, I told them I didn't even want that at all because I had my own relationship with the attorney and I wanted to do it. So they told me in those cases, I would have to do my own disputes. But if I hadn't been knowledgeable, because of this platform, I wouldn't have known anything about it.
Okay. So that's the thing is like, I feel like we're not super popular. Credit Butterfly is not a real popular CRM for outsourcers is what I'm figuring out because they don't, because it finds the violations for you automatically. So you have them and it's a click of a button. All you have to do is click one single button to do your dispute letter and it's done.
Yes.
So, yeah. Thank you, Shanta. I appreciate your input. I never even realized how rampant this was until I started talking about it a little bit. And people just kept coming to me and telling me these stories. All right.
Hey, Steph, can you hear me?
Hi, Wayne.
How we doing? I will tell you that I pull my hair out of my head when I keep hearing the sweeps, and I don't really have much to pull. And it is so rampant on social media. I've actually seen someone, won't mention the platform or anything like that, but they go, I'm going to show you how to do a 4-day legal credit sweep. And then talks about how the credit bureaus are stealing your information thanks to the Privacy Act. And this is why you go in and file an identity theft report. And I think I've given myself a concussion hitting my head on the desk so many times when I hear this.
You know what? And that's constant, right? We see it all over TikTok. We see it everywhere. It's like I said, it's almost mainstream now, and the consumers, unfortunately, are just falling for it. Edgar was posted something earlier. I think somebody else, he might have reposted it or posted, I'm not sure, posting some new thing now about the government that you have a right to like just get rid of all your negative items or something. It's just crazy.
I'm sure that if I listened a little bit longer, we'd hear stuff about traveling and sovereign citizenship. That's kind of how I group those two conversations. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you remember that? That was like really popular a few years back, that sovereign citizenship thing. Everybody kind of jumped on that bandwagon for a while.
unfortunately, only the seasoned people really remember all those stories, and I'll just leave it at that. Well, listen, I
Yeah.
got to know, great that you're doing this for people that really don't understand and kind of pointing it out.
Yeah, I mean, I just what I feel is important is that people don't understand that you can't combine the two. You can't combine the FCRA violations and the consumer law part of credit repair with sweeps.
And
That's
the
where I'm
other,
seeing the big issue coming in because everybody's thinking they can also profit over here from the FCRA side and still be doing the sweeps. And it's just not gonna,
well,
it doesn't
there's a
work.
lot of there's a lot of people that, I mean, literally, like you said, don't think. And I try to explain to people, I go, you understand that they profited, I think, combined like $11 billion. You don't think that they're putting together software to identify this and really put the screws to people that do this. And then that thing from TransUnion came out, the article, I think, what was it, a month ago or so? I might be
Yeah.
wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ticking time bomb. You know, it's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is trying to tighten things up because everyone says, oh, and if they don't do it, file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that'll be fixed in 15 days. And I'm again giving myself a concussion, banging my head against the desk.
Yeah, and people do the CFPB complaints, but I think even the CFPB came back and said, look, if you don't go through the
Uh-huh.
proper channels first,
Yep.
like do the disputes, wait for the results. If and if it's a real dispute, you can't just dispute everything blanket and then do a CFPB complaint. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, what exactly?
There was some sort of an article or a press release that they did that, and again, I don't remember the specifics. I'm horrible on that when the time comes to bring it up, but they're in the process of now making it harder to file those complaints.
Oh yeah, for the CFPB. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And they should because it's not a dispute platform. It's a
Yep.
complaint platform.
Yep.
And we
I
need
agree.
to know this. And Wayne, for those of you who don't know Wayne, because I don't think Wayne is like super big on social media or anything,
No.
but Wayne's been around the credit space. How long, Wayne?
21 or 22 years, give or
Yeah,
take.
super OG. He knows, he's been around. And so if you don't know Wayne, he's a good person to know. That's all I'm saying.
I'm super quiet. I gotta go. Love you, and everyone, congratulations for listening and getting educated.
All right, bye, Wayne.
Take care. Bye bye.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to share?
I got a
Yeah,
question.
can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Is that you, Ken?
I said, no, somebody else said, can you hear me? But I said, I got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm late to the party. What's a credit sweep?
A credit sweep is when you file a fraudulent FTC fraud affidavit on the government website saying that every derogatory item on the credit report is fraud.
Okay, I knew that. I thought it was something different. I was hoping it was something different. That's
So that's what a
insane.
sweep, that's what a 4-day sweep is. So they have 4 days basically to stop reporting that stuff.
So, what do you think about creating a special website that sends links to people that are on TikTok and Facebook promoting this nonsense so people can just check a repository and find out who these scam credit repair people are?
So here's the problem with that, Ken, and I'm going to be really frank and honest about it. The consumers want the sweeps. They're not avoiding it. They're asking for them. Okay? Yeah, that's the problem. So having a website like that isn't going to be really helpful, in my opinion, because the consumers do not care. They're willing to pay $2,000 or
Right? It'll be
2,500 or
free
3,000.
advertising, Ken.
Well, I was
What?
also thinking that there are some well-meaning credit repair people
That would be like
that
advertising, Ashley said.
but there's some well-meaning credit repair people who really believe this nonsense and they unknowingly do it. I mean,
Do you think anybody unknowingly does it?
listen, I talked, a man yesterday posted and said he wanted to work with someone on his team, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him for clarification. Are you, and then he basically was offering you do your disputing for his team. His team would do all the administrative work and you do the disputing and he would pay you. And I'm like, are you talking about someone of my caliber being an employee and you're gonna pay me a salary? Or he made it explicit that it would be his client. Why in the heck would I use my talent to further your business? It's your client, and you give me some crumbs. That's insane. So now, if
So that must be some type of new MLM-y thing going on because I actually saw that same exact post in multiple groups by different people.
this dude DM'd me with that nonsense, I'm like, listen, you need
Yeah.
to check my pedigree. You got the wrong one, baby.
Yeah, we all know Ken knows his stuff.
I mean, that's crazy. You offer me a
So, but
job?
I saw this post all over by multiple people, so I'm feeling like there's somebody out teaching this
Oh,
particular thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Somebody's
that's
teaching you to go post this.
that is crazy.
I know. I don't know what it's about yet. I haven't figured it out, but I did notice I saw it on multiple things. So I
Then I won't
know.
take it personal. I thought it was personal. I'm like, this
No,
man has
it's
lost his
everywhere
mind.
the other day.
Mm.
Don't take it personal.
Yeah, I'm like, man, what? I was outdone.
Yeah. I think my thought was they were trying to round up CROs that weren't making money.
Well, I got another question. What do
Yeah.
you or anybody else on here, what do y'all do when you do dispute, let's say, a debt buyer on the credit report, and next time you turn around, the consumer is being sued? What do you do then?
So for me, I don't do a lot of the FDCPA stuff. So typically I'm gonna just probably help my client do a settlement. Now, I know a lot of other people do different, they actually respond to the case. I know you do that. Me, I don't, I get scared doing legal things, so I typically will settle.
Well, isn't credit repair using the FCRA statutes? Isn't that just as much legal thing as anything else?
Yeah, 100%, for sure. I don't do like FDCPAs, like I don't do any legal stuff. So if somebody gets sued, I'm not gonna go file a response for them.
No, I don't file one for them either. I'm
Yeah,
like a petition preparer. I
yeah,
prepare the documents for them to file themselves. And
yeah. I don't do that either. But I think a lot of people do that. And I think if you guys want to learn how to do that, get with Ken because he could probably teach you for a fee.
And
And
there's a lot,
probably worth the fee.
there's a lot of money in that.
Yeah, there is. I think you're right. So I think there's a lot of different methods, and I'm sure, does anybody else on here do that? Like where you respond to the actual lawsuits and get them thrown out before they get the judgment? I know a lot of people do. I
Yes,
just don't.
I do.
Lorraine.
I do.
Yeah, so give Ken some insight on what you do.
Well, sometimes, I'll have instances where it's the original creditor. And so I usually do stuff like I'll say, can we take it to arbitration? And I'll get documents prepared so that they can see if they can take it to arbitration. And I kind of try to settle sometimes, but if it's a collection agency, then I'll fight it. And I'll give them all the paperwork and then I'll have them take it, but I don't really, I'll have them take the paperwork to them. Hello?
Yeah, I'm totally scared to do arbitration. I'm scared to do the arbitration letter in case I would have to actually go or actually attend an arbitration hearing. But Ken, I think Ken does that.
I don't go, but I actually, I make sure they get all the paperwork to actually go. But I won't go. But only if it's the original creditor, then I'll do it that way. But if it's a collection agency, then I'll fight it and I'll get it dismissed before it even goes to court most of the time.
Okay, that's amazing.
What's the differentiation between the original creditor and a debt buyer if there's an arbitration agreement in play?
Because when it's the original creditor, a lot of times they have in the fine print that you can take it to arbitration instead of taking it to court. And then I stay in Michigan, so Michigan courts they like when you take it to arbitration instead of having it in court. And then it buys me a little bit more time to keep doing my, to find some things so I can help the client win.
Well, do you mind if I provide you some suggestion? I've been doing this since 1993, and I've done thousands. I only lost one time. I had strep throat, and I had to hire a lawyer, and he just lost the case royally. When you're dealing with an arbitration agreement, if the amount in controversy is $5,000 or less, then there's a 99.99% chance you can win just by invoking arbitration.
Yes.
Because it costs them $1,500 to $3,000 just to get started, and it's going to cost close to $8,000 to go through it. So when they make the economic evaluation, it's easier for them to go on about their business and leave me alone than to go to arbitration. I've yet to have a credit card go through arbitration. Now they try to make you believe they're going, and they'll make you file, but they never show up and pay their money. And I just learned this morning at 3:00 in the morning that in May of 2025, AAA changed the rules that if the consumer pays a $225 arbitration fee and the respondent doesn't pay theirs, then AAA will close the case and give the consumer their money back. So you ain't got nothing to lose.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, that is.
Listen,
thank you.
All right,
telling
Ken,
you-
I keep saying it, but I'm gonna have you teach me how to do this because
Well, listen, I'm going to
I gotta
invite you
do
next
it.
week. I'm going to invite you next week, and then you can invite anybody else you want, because I want to introduce this to people, because the consumers are getting raked over the coals, and it ain't
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah.
It really ain't
Tyree wants
necessary.
to go. We're all coming. We're
No,
coming.
but
Ken.
I'm serious though.
No, for real. I'm not joking. I actually want to learn how to do it because I think I'm just leaving some things on the table, even myself. I do FCRA. I don't usually mess with the debt buyers and stuff, I just do certain violations. We all want the invite. Look, we got a whole list of people wanting the invite to this.
Listen, I'm beating these people like they stole something, and it is too much fun. You hear me? It is too. I'm gonna send you the invitation either tonight or first thing in the morning, and then you let me know.
Okay, so what are you doing? Are you doing a class? Are you going to do one special for us? What are you doing?
I'm going to do an introduction to how to use arbitration to beat collection agency.
Um,
I'm gonna put something together.
Ken,
It might be an hour. Yes.
I would love to come.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna send the thing to. I'm gonna send the
Make
thing out
sure
to.
everybody's muted.
I'm gonna send our host out the thing yesterday, and she can
Kimberly,
share.
can you mute everyone? All right.
I'm gonna send the thing to Stephanie tomorrow or later tonight, and then she can share it with whoever she wants and sign up. I only got 100 people that can jump on my Zoom thing, and
Okay.
it's gonna be free. So I just want people to learn that.
Okay, let's do that then. You send me the link and then I'll tell you what, we will send it out in the replay, you guys. What Ken's gonna teach us on the arbitration.
Because listen, baby, it is just too much fun beating these suckers. I'm like, because they think they
Well, we
got.
want to have the same fun.
Man. I'm gonna put that together today. I'm glad I jumped on here.
Yeah,
'Cause
me
otherwise,
too.
I'd be April Fools and still wouldn't have done it. So
So, I love it because on my Zooms, on my classes, sometimes we get the like OGs that have been around for like a really long time that know a ton of stuff. I know a ton of stuff, but there's stuff I had known nothing about because I've never dipped my toes into it.
girl, I learned something on Edgar's thing last Friday.
Everything.
Oh my God. The dude from TransUnion, I think his name was Rieger.
Oh
He
yeah, Steve, when we went to the credit lounge, that was
yeah,
amazing, right?
he
We got to ask
said
questions.
he said that these credit bureaus keep track of every communication the consumer sends. So 5 years ago, you said this account wasn't yours. And then you made all these payments, and now you're saying your identity theft, and they got all the documentation, and your goose is cooked. I
Yep.
oh man.
I mean, they just have so much more so what I think a lot of people don't realize with the credit bureaus, like we were always under the impression for years that, machines open the letters and read them, right? No real human even like looks at them. But the truth is, an actual human being looks at every single letter.
I never heard that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Steve Rieger told us that on the thing. Every letter.
I missed that. I
Yeah,
to,
you missed it because
I
I asked.
totally missed that.
Yeah. So
Well,
check it out. So literally they look at every letter and then they consider it. Sometimes they send it to other departments, to the fraud department. Sometimes they do this, but all they're looking for is the code. So it doesn't matter. Steve Rieger, he told us all. It doesn't matter if you use Metro 2, it doesn't matter if you use Factual, it doesn't matter. None of your letters matter. The only thing that matters is your dispute itself.
mm. Well, let me
So
ask you something.
TransUnion, Marquita, you can share Marquita. So TransUnion, they actually look at it and read it themselves.
Have you heard of
Marquita says Equifax has a machine. Oh, that kicks it to a real person. Marquita, can you come on and tell us about that? Ken, did you have more to add before Marquita comes on?
I was going to ask, have you all heard of Section 623 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act? Have you heard of Section 623?
Yeah.
Well, I don't even dispute the credit bureaus. I go straight to the person that's causing me the problem. The data furnisher is the one causing the problem. So why mess with the credit bureau? I go straight to the problem, and it gets fixed in about 15 days.
So you just go straight to the furnisher all the time.
Go straight to the furnisher
Okay.
all the time.
Okay. And that makes sense.
I mean, I'm not going to the
Well, it
credit
makes
bureau.
sense
Wait,
if you're not doing like an FCRA violation that you need to track for the attorneys. Then you do have to go through
well,
the,
no, it makes sense if you're not trying to seek any money. I'm just trying to remediate the credit report. I'm
right.
not suing for any money. I want the credit report fixed so I can move on to the next
Yeah,
thing.
but you can do both. That's really easy because you're only going to have like one violation, right? So you do that way, and then the rest of it, you can go do your way with the furnishers. I love that.
What do you mean you only have one violation? What that mean?
Well, because you're not going to have like 18 violations on every credit report. It's like maybe 7 out of 100 credit reports are going to have a real true FCRA violation that the attorneys are going to take. And with a little good intake, you could probably double that. So it's not like every single file has an actionable FCRA violation that the attorneys are going to end up taking.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't
And
even
then so
see.
you can just do your regular stuff on the rest. Most of it is going to be that way. Marquita, enlighten us somewhat on this Equifax stuff and some on the sweeping and if nobody knows Marquita, she's a real powerhouse like Ken.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, so Equifax does have a machine. Um, and they do have one that opens the letters. So how it works is what they do first is the machine.
Are you there?
She hit a bad area or something.
Oh, did we lose her? Do we? I hope not. Well, hopefully she'll come back on.
I would like to say maybe if Ken taught more people about arbitration, maybe so many people wouldn't be doing sweeps.
Yeah, but you know, I think them people that's doing the sweeps, they just some
That's
straight
a
up
good idea.
scammers anyway.
Right?
You got to be, and see another thing people don't know is you do them sweeps and or you do that authorized user stuff, and then somebody goes out and gets some credit that they wasn't entitled to. Now you're gonna find yourself caught up in some kind of conspiracy. And now you got a federal ID number.
Dude,
No,
I've seen like mortgage loan officers that like have their entire commissions revoked and everything for doing files or like writing loans on people that have had sweeps done on them.
yeah, now so now I'm not
Yep.
trying to get involved in nobody else's shenanigans because I did some dumb stuff like that. No,
Yep. Keep it
no.
legal. Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, so no one ever tells these stories. This is why nobody knows about these stories. What you just shared, Ashley, that's like massive. A loan officer losing their commission. Do you know how long a loan officer works on a loan before that sucker closes?
Yeah,
Imagine a
maybe.
loan officer spending that money like anywhere between like 2 and 3% of the entire mortgage, and them having to pay it back after it's already been spent.
Oh, and these are big. Like when I was doing loans, I was making my average was like 4,500 per loan, but I would make one loan I made 18,000.
Man,
Okay.
why you
Think
get out of
about
that?
it.
Damn,
Why'd you
Steph.
get out of that business?
I was a
God,
$1.2 million loan, and my broker was cool and let me keep all of it.
man,
Yeah.
why you not still doing that?
Are you joking? Like, loans are stressful. I prefer credit all day. I did loans off and on for 25 years, you guys.
Hmm.
Okay, Marquita's back. Her phone went dead. We were hoping you were going to make it back. All right, go, Marquita.
Okay, so yeah, so it is a machine. So when it runs through the machine, what it does is it scans it. So it scans to see how many times someone has actually sent that same letter, or if it came off the internet. So it flags it for a lot of things. So if it's just a generic letter that they have received, they have two piles. So they have one pile that it'll shoot it over here, and what they'll do is they'll send it out to the different collection agencies. And so some of the letters will automatically generate a response to say, "Hey, we verified that this account belongs to you." But the more serious ones that you actually put in your own words, that's exactly why I write my own letters, because I know how the inside works. I know that if I put it in my own words, that it's going to shoot it to a real person. So
Okay, well, that's some good insider knowledge, you guys.
yeah, so just
Like,
always change up the wording like you're talking to them. Like you can get a little rude. I'm a little rude in my letters, right? So you can get a little rude in the letters, but you want it to go to a real person that's actually going to take the dispute serious.
Okay.
So that's how it works on Equifax side. Now, when it comes to collections, because I did collections for 15 years, what individuals got to understand is that when it goes to a collection agency, the collection agency has nothing. The only thing that is sold is the name and the amount and the last four. So we always have to skip trace the client or the consumer to actually get all of their information to start calling and collecting on the debt. And then that's how the fees and stuff are added to it. So they don't necessarily never have the actual bill. That's why if you are an individual that do debt validation, that's why they only send you like a statement from the credit card company because they don't really actually have the contract because it's not sold to that collection agency. So the collection agency has to go through so much to actually get that contract. But I kind of agree with the other guy when he says that he goes straight to the data
To the
furnisher.
furniture.
Yeah, because I do that too. Like I don't touch no account until I actually do debt validation because I know they don't have the contracts. And then I
Okay.
make sure and then I
So we
check
were
to see
talking about this the other day with Ashley Deal Market. So Ashley, we were kind of all in a little thread on Facebook the other day about debt validation. Because in
Mhm.
all honesty, right, you're only supposed to be able to get a true debt validation if it's within 30 days of the collection going. But me and Ashley were kind of in there arguing that, you know what? We do debt validations years down the road and we still get deletions. Even though they really don't have to even respond.
Absolutely. Like there's theory of like how it's supposed to work, and then there's actual practice of us using it, getting deletions, like years down the line. So I'm still gonna do it because it's still working, and until it doesn't work anymore, I'll pivot.
Yeah, it's gonna work. It always works for me because I know that um what collection agencies are not registered or licensed to collect in certain states. So between that and using the statute of limitations for whatever state they're in, it'll come out quicker than disputing with the actual credit agencies.
No,
So
then
debt
there you
validation is
go.
a must.
That was
Stephanie, you went silent. We can't hear you. Well, I
We
can't
can't
hear
hear
you.
you, Stephanie.
okay. I don't know why.
Now you can.
That was weird. I have no idea. I didn't do anything. All right. I'm just saying we got some good. I think my internet connection is unstable. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. So I said we got some really good gems dropped tonight between Marquita and Kenneth. Amazing. So I know some people were asking about a demo. So just so you know, guys know, so our software that we have is Credit Butterfly. Credit Butterfly does identify FCRA violations. That's why we talk about it a lot. So if you want a demo, just comment demo here in the chat and I'll look through it tomorrow, the chat tomorrow, and I'll reach out to you if you want a demo. I know there was a couple of people on here that have been asking about it. I also dropped Brianna's book, The Fight for Fair Credit. Tyree had posted a good book to read. It's called The Fight for Fair Credit by Brianna, and I put it in the chat. I put the ebook in the chat for you guys because I have it. It was free. She was giving it away free, so I'm not like giving away any kind of something. She was totally giving it all away for free. I got it for free. Can I drop it again? Let me try to drop it again real quick.
What time tomorrow you gonna do the demo, Stephanie?
I'm not doing a demo tomorrow, but I'll contact anybody that needs a demo. You don't need a demo though. You've had a lot, you know how to work the software.
Yeah, I'm practicing now.
You know, yeah, get with Nikki. If you need help with the software, just make an appointment with Nikki and he'll make sure that you know how to use it perfect.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys, I think we're about 2 more minutes. So thanks for kind of bearing with me on this one. You know, I just thought I would kind of change it up and just talk about some stuff that was going on. And just so everybody knows that you can't combine all the different things all the time, right? What Ken and Marquita were talking about tonight, all of that can be combined with consumer law. Marquita does it.
You're
You
out
went
again, Jeff.
you went silent again.
Am I back yet?
You-
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I guess that means it's time to hang up since.
No, that means you owe us 5 more minutes.
So, so
Good
good evening. Good evening.
Good
evening.
evening.
Is it okay? Like, can give a different demonstration of the 623 his approach
Yes, you
with
can.
the. Is that okay with you, Ken?
I didn't understand what you said. I'm sorry. What you say?
You were saying you were saying the 623. How you just deal with the furniture instead of the CRA.
uh-huh.
So if you could just give a demonstration of your approach, maybe that'd be beneficial to a lot of the
You mean right
people that's
now?
present.
He's gonna give
If
us
that's
a
good for you.
class. He's gonna actually give us a class, and we're gonna invite everybody to you to it next week. And he's gonna give us a demonstration.
Right.
Yeah. So is that okay? But it won't be till next week because we don't have time today.
Yeah, of course, it's okay. Yes, sure.
But yeah, but I'll make sure you're invited.
All right.
Okay? I know you, so I will reach out to you and I will make sure you get on that invite list. I
All
promise.
right. So let me just make a statement then. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I think a lot of times the people, what you could say, the clients or customers, they're very desperate, like in a state of emergency, and because they don't really know no better, I think they go with anything that they hear concerning credit repair and a quick fix just to you know pacify them or give them some type of relief or a false hope like I'm gonna hurry up and get this done for you and fix your problem, but then a lot of times the problem is never fixed, because they still left in the same situation.
Yep, understood. I understand where you're coming from too.
I think that's when it's your responsibility as a CRO to educate them. Because a lot of people do find themselves in really, really jacked up situations. And if you're in it for a check, then you take advantage of that situation. But if you in it to actually help them, then you would explain to them why they don't want to do certain things and what risk they put themselves at.
No, I'm just saying in general, like people like on the internet and maybe not personal, like my clients or anybody like that. Just people who looking to see. Because I remember having a client, and he asked me the question, "What's perfect credit?" Right? And I asked him, what's his opinion of personal credit? I mean, perfect credit. And he was saying like he paid for mentorship, right? And the mentor told him he should only have two inquiries. So when he said that, I said, to me, perfect credit is if you apply for something, right? You'll be able to get approved. Because you could have two inquiries, but you still may not get approved, and that's only 10% of your score. You get what I'm saying? Um, and I told him, I say, look, you gotta have credit cards, you gotta have installment loans, right? You gotta have a mortgage, you gotta have a car. So all of these things right here increase. So, people have different impressions of what they really need in credit repair, and everybody's story is going to be different.
Yep. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. I'll see you guys Thursday. Okay,
Thank you so
night.
much.
Thanks
Good
everyone
night.
for sharing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.